Sairam, everyone. We are in the process of studying the 12th chapter of Sathya Sai Vahini. Last week I was missing, so I would like someone to provide a summary. I don't know, Sai Satish, would you like to? Or Kalyani? I think there were lots of discussions about Astika Dharma and Atma Dharma, which I listened. I didn't listen to it, the entire discussion, but so I will ask Sai Satish or Kalyani to summarize.
I'll request Mr. Kalyani only to summarize.
Sarah Uncle, actually, maybe could you start with because I think one of their main discussion points was on, is Astika Dharma the same as Atma Dharma? So could you clarify that part?
Yeah, sure. In the Vedantic context, Vedic context, Astika means one who believes in the Vedas' supremacy or the foundational nature of Vedas. In the Indian context, anyone who accepted the supremacy of the Vedas were considered Astikas. As Swami is discussing the Vedas and the later texts at present, I think it may be safe to assume that Swami is making that statement in that context. I think Swami is introducing Astika Dharma here in the latter text section to highlight the fact that the Vedic or Vedantic concepts are foundational and never change. Smritis, on the other hand, which deal with certain other dharmic principles which get changed over time sometimes, are prone to change. However, they cannot disagree or go against the Vedantic concepts of Astika Dharma. I think then there was a discussion about Atma Dharma and Astika Dharma. What's the difference? And also, if something is higher than the other. I think there were two points which were discussed. My view is, if you read the Dharma Vahini, Swami would say Atma Dharma is the foundation of Astika Dharma. Everything, for example, if we read the Dharma Vahini, Swami will say Atma Dharma is important. Everything should be based on it. That Atman is supreme and there's only one Atman, which is the indweller in everything. Understanding that and living by that principle is Atma Dharma. Knowing that we are also Atman. And then Swami goes on to talk about Purusha Dharma, Stri Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma, and so on. And Loka Dharma also in Dharma Vahini. So whatever Swami has covered in Dharma Vahini, Astika Dharma is the way I would understand. But the foundational Dharma which Swami speaks about in Dharma Vahini is Atma Dharma. So I don't know whether we can call something higher or lesser. The anti-Astika Dharma depends on Atma Dharma, and it covers much more than the Atman principle. Also in the worldly side, whatever needs to be practiced. This is the way I understand. I hope that answers. So Auntie was having her hand up. Please, Auntie.
Sairam, let me read that sentence where there was some confusion.
Okay, Auntie.
పాఠకులు ముఖ్యముగా గమనించవలసిన జ్ఞప్తి పెట్టుకొలసిన విషయం ఇది. వేదాంతమునందలి ఆస్తిక ధర్మ సూత్రములు సుస్థిరములు. ఓకే, దెన్ మార్పు చేయుటకు వీలు కానివి. ఏలైనగా అవన్నీ మానవుని యొక్కయు ప్రకృతి యొక్క నిత్య ధర్మములపై ఆధారపడి ఉన్నది. సో నిత్య ధర్మ, వాట్ ఈస్ నిత్య ధర్మ, వాట్ ఈస్ Astika Dharma? That was
Nitya Karma. Nitya Karma also was another point, is it?
Yeah, that was the point.
So my yes, Auntie.
Is it same, or when Swami says Astika Dharma Sutra, is it different? Is it different from Nitya Dharma? That was the...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was the main contention. I
or
hope
Nitya.
Kalyani, that was it not? Kalyani?
Possibly, yes. I think that sentence where it's saying the Manavuni Yoga and Prakriti Yoga. So it's saying those, the dharma of Prakriti and man. So yeah, if you can explain that part, that would be nice.
See, Swami uses Nitya Dharma. First he uses Astika Dharma. Then Swami uses Nitya Dharma. Is it same? Here in the English translation, directly it is given as Atma Dharma. But the original Telugu Swami, what he is saying is, Vedantamanandali Astika Dharma Sutramulu Sustiramuలు. They are permanent, eternal. మార్పు చేటుకు వీలు కాదు, యూ కాంట్ చేంజ్ దమ్. ఏలనగా అవన్నీ మానవుని యొక్కయు ప్రకృతి యొక్క నిత్య ధర్మపై ఆధారపడి పడియుండునవి, అందుచేత మార్పునకు అతీతమైనగా రూపొందినవి. సో వాట్ we were discussing was నిత్య ధర్మ అండ్ ఆస్తిక ధర్మ సూత్రములు are they same? That is what the discussion was. Afterwards, when we read this Atma Dharma, Swami says Atma Dharma is the one enunciated in Vedanta. That is eternal change. So Astika Dharma Sutramulu is nothing but Atma Dharma, Swami is saying.
Yeah, so, Auntie, I think the way I understand, if you read Elayanaga Avaniyu Manavani Yokkayu, Prakriti Yokkayu Nitya Dharmamulapai Adharapadi Unnavi. పడి ఉంటున్నవి. ఓకే, అందుచేత అవి మార్పునకు అతీతమైనవి, రూపొందినవి, ఆత్మని గుర్చిన భావములు ఎన్నాటికి మారునవి కావు. సో ఐ థింక్ స్వామి, when Swami is explaining what is this Nitya Dharma, this Nitya Dharma, subsequently Swami says it is all ఆత్మను గురించిన భావములు. So Swami is again, see, in Dharma Vahini also, Swami, the permanent dharma. See, in this case, Nitya Dharma, Swami is using the word Nitya Dharma, not necessarily Nitya Karma. Okay. Nitya Dharma means the eternal, permanent dharma of the world, which is Atma. Atma Dharma is the way I understand. Because Swami, that's what Swami is telling Dharma Vahini also. So, see, Prakriti and Manava means human being as well as creation. What they are dependent on is Atman. What is the permanent Atman, which never undergoes any change. They are all dependent on that, which is exact thing which Swami is saying in Dharma Vahini. Swami says if Atma Dharma is absent, no dharma exists, because everything should depend on Atma Dharma. So Swami is also, in that sense, Swami is implying that Astika Dharma depends on Atma Dharma, and that Dharma does not change. Because it is dependent on something which doesn't change, it will never change, is the way I understand. I hope.
Yeah. So the confusion started when Swami is saying Astika Dharma is it different from Atma Dharma? Nitya Dharma. That is the
Nitya. So the thing is, here also, Sustiramalu, Swami is saying.
They are Sustiramalu, eternal.
Yes. But where is Santi? The
next sentence, you see.
అవన్నీ మానవుని యొక్కయు ధర్మ అందుచేత అవి మార్పునకు
మానవుని యొక్కయు ప్రకృతి యొక్క నిత్య ధర్మములపై.
Okay.
There Nitya Dharma was used.
Yeah. So the word Nitya Dharma is that the Dharma which is Nityam is Atma Dharma, which Swami is explaining in this next sentence, saying that they are all Atmanu Gurchina Bhavamulu, means they are all related to the feeling or our thinking of the Atman.
So the confusion is there is nothing. Atma Dharma is the eternal.
Atma Dharma is eternal. Anything which is dependent on Atma Dharma also is eternal, which is Astika Dharma.
Oh,
Because Astika Dharma is covered in the Vedas. Atma Dharma is also covered in the Vedas as the foundational Dharma, which is eternal. I think that's the way I would say. To that extent, you can equate Astika Dharma with Atma Dharma because it is dependent. However, however, Atma Dharma only talks about Atman. Astika Dharma talks about everything else which is dependent on Atman also, like the Purusha Dharma, Stri Dharma, all that will be covered under Astika Dharma, which actually depend on, Swami is saying, Adhara Padi Unnavi, Padi Unnavi, that they rest on Atman. Even the concept of Purusha, which is not necessarily a man, but the Purushatva, it's dependent on Atman. But it's derived from the Atman, and that's how the Purusha Dharma is coming. Then Stri Dharma is also same. It's dependent on the Atma Dharma. But this will never change, is what Swami is saying.
thanks a lot.
Right.
Right.
Okay, that's my... Yes, Kalyani.
So when Swami is saying Manavuni Yoga, the Yoga, does that mean like of the Mana?
Of the human being.
So
Of the human being and of the creation.
so the Nitya Dharma of human beings and the Nitya Dharma of creation?
Yes, it's Atman. The unchanging dharma of both creation and human being is Atma.
Okay, so there's only one, the Nitya Dharma, not like there's
Yes,
two there.
exactly. But Swami has used the word Nitya Dharma Mulu. Swami has used the word plural. To cover, see, that's why Astika Dharma. See, when you say Atma Dharma, there is no change, no difference, no two. Okay. But from the Atma Dharma, whatever comes out, derived, like the Purusha Dharma, Sri Dharma, whatever, how the world, the nature of the creation also is such, the flower will, the fire will always burn. Okay. The water will always wet. That is their Nitya Dharma, which comes because of where do they derive that power from? From Atman. So Swami will say, Dharma of the water is to wet. Dharma of the fire is to burn. So that means, where do they derive that from? Atman. Even that is dependent on Atman. The fire will suddenly not become cooling. Okay, because that's an eternal nature of fire.
Even the ashrama dharma also is.
Yes.
Ashrama dharma is also.
So whatever we read in Dharma Vahini as Astika Dharma is the way I would put it. Because Swami has taken even Varnashrama Dharma and given it a Nitya state, a permanent state in the Dharma Vahini. They are not prone to change. Okay, the underlying principles do not change.
Okay.
But I think Swami is talking later on, how other, how the Smritis and other later texts have addressing various aspects and so on, which sometimes can change. I think that's my limited understanding, but I hope it includes, it complements a confusion or clarity, whichever it is.
So when Swami is saying these Astika Dharmas are in the Vedanta, so does that mean like the Stri Purusha Dharma, all of that is
Yes.
encompassed in
Yes.
Vedanta?
Yes. Yes. You can read the Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam covers everything, including the Varnas. Okay. That's all it's part of the Vedanta, you can say, Purusha Suktam. Okay. So it covers Purusha, it covers the Varnas, ashramas. Even Rudram covers all of it. Covers more than everything. Everything is, see, there Rudra is the underlying principle of everything. He's the Pati, the Lord. So those things will not change. Okay. Hope covers.
Yeah.
Rudra is Atman, but everyone else is also covered. Okay. How? Okay. Even stealing is Nitya Dharma. But as long as you relate it to Rudra. Okay, so that was it.
Can you just
Someone,
explain that, Uncle, what you're saying? Like, even stealing is a nitya dharma, like as long as you relate it to Atma.
see, in Vedanta, every type of activity in this world, whether good or bad or anything like that, everything stems from the Atman. That does not change. That will not change. What makes a person, which we studied in Kenopanishad, through whom all these things happen, that doesn't change. Okay, by whom does the world function? It will never change. That is Astika Dharma. That is Atma Dharma. But the manifestations and may seem different. See, but the Jnani will only look at everything and say, oh, it's a play of the Lord. Okay. For him, nothing has changed. The person who does not think of the Atman will find everything changing. And okay, so that's what I meant by Nitya Dharma. Means the Nitya Dharma is a foundation of Atman to support everything in this world is Nitya. Never changes. No one can just suddenly function without Atmic power. Okay, so it's a very subtle difference. Are you looking at the externality or are you looking at the underlying inner principle?
Brother Sahir Ahmad, I remember actually we read that one. So you know that chair made out of wood, no? So please explain that one because what is basic and what is
Yeah, so in the wood, in the chair, Swami will say what is unchanging in the chair or table or cupboard, it is the wood. That fact does not change. The quality of the wood will not change. However, how you use it may seem to be different. However, the person who sees the wood will see everything as coming from wood. So he will feel everything as one. But the person who only exclusively looks at the external manifestation and its use may say, oh, a chair is different from a table or from a cupboard. That is only apparent distinction. But the underlying wood doesn't change. And the nature of the wood also doesn't change. It is just how we have used it may be different. So the later texts actually basically are like wood, chair, cupboard. But we should not forget the underlying principle of wood. So the same thing, I think Swami is trying to. I hope, brother, I don't know whether I am.
Yeah.
It's same thing with pot and pans and with made from clay. It's same thing, Swami again.
yeah, that's a good thing, no? Only thing is, I am speaking for Brother Sanjay, okay? Brother
Okay.
Sanjay had a question. The astikam, the word astikam, does it imply when you split it, does it cover that asti part in that astikam? That he had that question.
So he's right, brother. The thing is,
Yeah.
astika comes from the word asti.
Uh,
Okay. It's
yeah.
derived from the word asti, which means existence. But Vedantic concept, what exists, what is Sat, is only God, Atman. So from that set, so Astika is basically any dharma which depends on the Asti, which is Sat, which is described in the Vedas. Okay, Asti not from a common man's understanding. Asti from the perspective of Sat, Asti Vadhi Priyam, which is Sat Chitananda. Whatever is believed in the Sat as explained in the Vedanta, whatever is dependent on that, that dharma is Astika dharma.
Only Nama Rupa changes.
Nama
Asti will never change. The substratum, wood will never change. Only the shape of the wood,
Yes.
maybe in table form or in chair or some other thing, they may change. There the Nama Rupa is changing. The Asti part of it, that's wood, is always eternal. So,
Yes, Auntie. And even if you just go to grammatically Sanskrit wise, Astika is derived from Asti. So anything derived from that Sat, which never changes, doesn't change. That relationship between that Asti and everything else in this creation doesn't change.
Okay, that's good. That's good for everybody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Because sometimes, the terminology which Swami uses in the context, if you look at the topic, Vedanta is only talking about Brahman, Asti Bhati Priyam. That Asti is the existence in Vedantic concept. Nothing else is as permanent as Atman or Brahman. So whatever is derived from there is Astika. Whatever is derived from that is Astika, that will not change. That means you cannot derive something forgetting the source, origin, which is Asti, Brahman, Atman. And so, okay. So I will say they are all Pariyaya Patalu, they are all synonyms to the Asti or Brahman, Sat. Swami is saying Sat is not a quality of God. Sat is God. Chit is God. So Asti is also God, Brahman. I think that's the way I understand. I hope. Anyway, it was very nice discussion. See, sometimes finally we discuss and churn, our own understanding. It was very nice to listen to everyone, but there was so very intense discussion. I missed. Sorry.
I think when you are not here, the problem comes. When you are not here, the intrinsic questions come.
I tried to synthesize, that's all. But all of you said, see, Vipra Bahuda Vatanti means everyone says different ways what they perceive. There's nothing wrong. It is if you want to just look at all of them and put it all together, synthesize it. I think that's what Swami wants us to do in a study circle anyway. Very nice. Okay. Yes, Kalyani, summary or questions? Summary of questions.
I just had a question actually about what you said. So say the Nitya Dharma of a criminal, for example, say if you're at a state where seeing a crime or something causes you to feel disturbed, how do you get to the point where you see a crime and you say that person is only doing his Nitya Dharma?
No. That's see. Nitya Dharma means it's like all of us are human beings. Swami will say, what is our Nitya Dharma? Humanness is our Nitya Dharma. But we can be doing adharma also. Just because dharma exists doesn't mean adharma doesn't exist. That means when something does not evince the natural quality, then it's adharma. From a worldly perspective, if you want to put it that way. So if a person is acting without knowing that he is Atman, that action is adharma, action. But that doesn't mean that person is not human being or, there's divinity within that person. So the thing, it's like, if you find something dirty, you have a cloth, if your clothes are dirty, you can say it's all Brahman, it's all clean. If that is the way you feel, you should be feeling about everything in this world that way. But once you know this cloth, its natural state is there should not be any dirt or stain. What will you do? You will just wash it. So in this world, if you see adharma, we should just function that way only. We should not forget that there's Atman in that, that person also. But if there's an adharmic country, if that can be brought to a natural state from a worldly point of view for its use, then that which will support everything else, everyone else, you can just go about. So we should not think Dharma doesn't exist. Dharma, when it is not properly, fully evinced or expressed, then it is because of any Bhranti, Swami said, delusion, that also has to be removed. Ignorance also has to be removed. So I think we should approach everything from that perspective rather than saying adharma doesn't exist, everything is good. Yes, you can come to that state when you see everything as fine. That's ultimate. But I think yesterday we read in the Sanskrit class one excerpt where Swami is saying, for Jnani there is neither good nor bad. Everything is good. But until you reach that state, just follow the rules. Follow what has to be done. I think that's exactly Swami said. Which is the thing, which I think your concept is, when I say thief is also Atman, he has Atman within him. It may not be manifesting from a thief perspective, it may be perfect. But from a societal perspective, it may not suit. Okay, dharma is something, so we have to deal with it. Okay, I hope that I answered that question.
Yes, yes. And when Swami is saying how changes have to occur and over time to suit the changes in society, there was a question that came up, like, who has the authority to make those changes?
So generally, rishis had the authority, and they still do have the authority. Or Swami will say Devamsa Sambhutas, I think Swami has covered that also in Sathya Sai Vahini chapter 3 or something. Swami will say different kinds of people divinely endowed will come to the world and re-establish what needs to be run properly. So generally, again, if I want to use a Vedantic term, there's something called Shishtachara. Okay. They will say for any changes which has to be implemented, it has to be by the Vedas or the Smritis or Shastras or by Shishtachara. Shishtachara means those who have full knowledge of the Vedas and the Vedantas and who in their life have put them into practice and who are held up as ideals for others to follow, what they implement, what changes they bring about, have authority. Okay, that's a belief. But now everyone can feel, oh, I have also reached that stage. I can bring about changes. But that is Bhranti, as Swami said, delusion. So generally people follow the Shastras, Smritis. Because if you ask Swami, Swami will say what is not in the Mahabharata, doesn't exist in the world. So some of these texts which Swami is going to talk about have covered all types of things, not only in the past, present, and in the future also. They have already given guidance. So it is just a matter of people understanding it and applying it appropriately. Okay, I hope that.
Thank you, Uncle.
I think Swami, let's allow Swami to cover some of this, I would say. Okay.
Yeah.
So half an hour went to just me talking mostly. I think
Yeah.
it's not good. So we can read from wherever?
Yes, Sister Vani, are you able to read?
Sure, Sister Saira. Now about the Puranas. Puranam Pancha Lakshana. That is to say, the Puranas deal with historical incidents of creation and evolution. The incidents are so chosen and narrated that they provide illustrations of basic philosophic truths. The Puranas were composed to expound the teachings of the Veda and Vedanta to the common man through interesting mythological and legendary tales. The language of the Vedas is very ancient and it contains many archaic elements of grammar and vocabulary. Even great scholars find it difficult to discover the age when the rigs were formulated. But the Puranas were composed in the language that was current and that was easily understood at the time. What we now know as the Sanskrit language is the language of the Puranas. Not only scholars but even ordinary folk could easily follow that language when the Puranas were written.
Thank you. Auntie Telugu?
Yeah.
Kalyani, are you reading and are you correcting or?
What do you prefer, Uncle?
We can do that.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Telugu, can I read?
Yes, Auntie, please read.
Puranam Pancharakshanam Anduru. అనగా అందు చారిత్రక సంబంధములైనవి సృష్టిక్రమ సంబంధములైనవి.
I think there was one extra sentence. Now one must try to understand the Puranas. They say a Purana has 5 characteristics, meaning in it are things related to history and things related to the process of creation.
తాత్విక సిద్ధాంతములను విశదీకరించు సాంకేతిక ఉదాహరణ రూపమైనవి ఎన్నెన్నో విషయములుండును.
There will be so many matters in the form of symbolic examples that clarify philosophical principles.
సా వేద విషయమును సామాన్య మానవులకు అర్థమగు రూపమున ప్రదర్శించుటకై ఇవి రచింపబడెను.
These were composed for the sake of demonstrating Vedic matters to common humans in an understandable form.
వేద భాష అత్యంత ప్రాచీన రూపమైనది.
The Vedic language is an extremely ancient form.
విద్వాంసులలో కూడా ఏ కొలది మందయు మాత్రము విని రచనా కాలమును కనుగొనగలరు.
Even among very great scholars, only a few can figure out their time of composition.
పురాణములు ఆ కాలపు జనసామాన్యపు వాడుచుండిన భాషలో వ్రాయబడినవి.
The Puranas were written in the language the common people of that time were using.
మనము ఇప్పుడు ఆధునిక సంస్కృతమును పేర వ్యవహరించు భాషయే అది.
That is indeed the language we now refer to by the name of modern Sanskrit.
Sorry, 1 minute. మనము ఇప్పుడు ఆధునిక సంస్కృతమను పేర వ్యవహరించు భాషయే అది. In the name of Adhunika, that is modern language.
We are transacting today, calling it modern Sanskrit, which is the same language of the Puranas.
అప్పటి విద్వాంసులకే కాక ఆ భాష సామాన్య ప్రజలకై ఉద్దేశింపబడినది.
Not only for the scholars of that time, that language is intended for the common people.
కనుక ఆ భావమునకు ఆ భాషతోనే రూపకల్పనము మనంచిరి.
Therefore, they gave form to that concept, bhava, with that language itself.
Yeah. Can I just
Yes, Aunty.
give the meaning of, 5 distinct characters of Purana?
Yes, please, Aunty, please.
Yeah. Puranas, according to ancient texts, the core features are sarga. Sarga is cosmogony. Pratisarga, secondary creation, or Vamsha, genealogy of gods, and Manvantara, in which time it was written, Vamshanucharitamu. Vamshanucharitamu means tales and history concerning the solar and lunar dynasty, like Chandra Vamsha, Surya Vamsha. So, Vamshanucharitam. That is what the 5 core characteristics of a Purana. They should have all these 5 characteristics.
Yes, Aunty. Thank you, Aunty. We'll open it up for discussion. Swami is slowly, introducing what are the latter texts, and Swami is introducing Puranas, which were meant to explain the concepts contained in the Vedas, which are difficult for even scholars to understand. I think that's how Swami is entering here. So I will stop here. If anyone would like to discuss any of the points, please, Saya.
Can we have that 5 words in English for the 5 amsams of the Puranas?
So I think I will just try to simplify, I guess. First one is creation. The cosmos, how it came to be, is something which the Puranas cover. Then they also cover, as Auntie said, secondary creations, whichever, original creation and then secondarily what happened. Then it also talks about the lineages of certain historical figures and their stories. And it's also relates to how the genealogy of how things evolved over a period of time is also covered in the Puranas. So they cover it. Through these, actually, they bring out the principles contained in the Vedas. Itihasa also falls under that. If you like the 18 Puranas, they all cover this. Actually, they have stories of creation, what happened, who came, what did they pray for, what were the instructions. Manvantara also, Auntie said. Manvantara means is not only the time period, how it evolved, all that's also covered. Manvantara is one time period.
Yeah.
For each Manu. Okay, so each
And
Manu is during a
Vamsa-
certain period. Yes, Auntie.
Vamshanucharitam.
Yes.
To which Vamsha, the solar,
Genealogy, yes.
lunar Vamsha, those kings belonged. For example, Sri Rama belonged to the Surya Vamsha, and Krishna belonged to Chandra Vamsha. So like it goes on. So these 5 features must be there in a Purana.
Okay, thank you. So usually Baba separates the, he uses the words Ithikasas also very oftenly, and also Prana. So can you deliberate on that one a little bit more? Because here, can we take Ramayana Mahabharata into the Puranas, or keep it separate as as Ithikasas, or anything is same? That's the question I am asking.
My understanding is, brother, Swami is clubbing it with them as Puranas. That's what I would say. But others can also share their view.
In the 18 Pranas, Bhagavan is one of the 18, no? So in that way, it matches here, mixing. Ithikasas is mixed here in the Puranas. But the Ramayana story is not part of in the 18. So I think we can use together as one concept, I think, yeah. Because Mahabharata and Ramayana are historical evidences are there. But for the other Puranas, we don't have historical elements, but legendary. No, not legendary. What do you call?
Yeah, you can call them legendary. With their
legendary. Yeah.
See, the thing is, in the Swami in the Bhagavata Vahini, there's a chapter called Puranas and Incarnations. Anyone who wants to, there Swami is given 10 characteristics. But I think 5 of them is what Auntie mentioned. But Swami is mentioning 10 characteristics as Puranas characteristics in the Bhagavata Vahini. So there is a chapter. So I would ask everyone to read that if any extra information you need. But I think Auntie has given basically it covers certain areas which Auntie has already covered. I will leave it at that.
Mahabharata and Ramayana, they come under Purana.
Itihasa, Auntie.
Itihasa.
But see, as Swami has said here also in here itself.
The story.
Swami has told, stories of lineages and things like that also.
Yeah.
But other Puranas contain within them some of these aspects. But Ramayana and Bhagavata, Mahabharata, just clear Itihasa. There are no additional embellishments, if you want to put it that way. But the Puranas generally contain other aspects also of imaginary nature. Just to illustrate certain principles, the sages or sage Vyasa did that.
I think we can give the example of Matsya Purana, Kurma Purana. All those things can
all under that category. Just some imagination.
They have that Sarga, Upasarga, then Vamsham, and then Manmantaram. All must be. You can find these in those Puranas.
So Vyasa lived in the latter part of Tuavara Yuga. So So, so modern Sanskrit is exactly same as that Vyasa used?
Yes, brother.
Okay.
The
Okay.
Puranas are written in today's classical Sanskrit, as it's called. So the grammar which you find is all, even in the Mahabharata and all of them, except the Vedas and the Upanishads, which have certain unique grammatical features which do not conform to today's classical grammar. That's why it becomes a bit of a challenge to interpret and understand them. Yes, Vani, please go ahead.
Sairam, so here there's a sentence called the incidents are so chosen and narrated that they provide illustrations of basic philosophic truths or principles. So these basic principles are like, God is one, we are Atman. Those are the basic principles.
Yes, yes. And it also gives instructions of how to live, how there are conversations between two personages. One will ask, in this situation, what do you do? And so there are question and answers which also illustrate how do we practically apply some of these principles in our daily life.
Thank you.
So, brother, one more question. That the Bhagavad Gita is said to be one of the Prasthanatrayam, no? The three texts.
Basic
So,
text.
basic, what is it? What text?
Basic text, I would
Basic
say.
text, yeah. So, at the same time, Bhagavad Gita is, you said, yeah, because it's part of Mahabharata, it comes under the Puranas, Itihas section also. How do you deal with that? Because because mostly we find even Bhagavan many times he said it's Upanishad. No, it is some people, many people say that Bhagavad Gita is an Upanishad also. Because when Vivekananda spoke, they say Vivekananda never spoke any word other than Upanishad, but including Bhagavad Gita. So now, so how can you? Can you please tell us something that is what is basically the
Prasthanatrayas.
yeah and yeah.
Yeah, the Prasthanatrayas became famous because of Shankaracharya, because he commented on that. Okay. He commented on the Upanishads, which are Vedic in nature, Vedantic. He wrote commentary. Then he picked up two texts. One is Bhagavad Gita, the other one is the Brahma Sutras. The Brahma Sutras also were composed by Vedavyasa,
Yes.
and they are not considered part of the Vedic literature. It is subsequent literature, Smriti literature only. But he again condensed the truths within the Upanishads into these sutras. So people can read, memorize, and study. That was his intent. And Bhagavad Gita also is composed by Vedavyasa as part of Mahabharata, which is considered the essence of Upanishads. It doesn't have any extraneous content. It is just purely Upanishad. There's no stories, nothing. It just illustrates and elaborates on the principles contained in the Upanishads. So that is why Sri Adi Shankaracharya picked up these three for commentary. So because it's ease of commentary, rather than entire Vedas, if he comments, it's a lot. So even the Upanishads, he only picked 10, which are considered the most profound and very comprehensive. So he just picked 10 and then he commented on them. Then he commented on the Brahma Sutras by Vedavyasa. and also on the Bhagavad Gita. So these texts, which are considered basic texts, if somebody wants to start the study of Vedanta, these three should be studied, because that will introduce to comprehensively at a basic level all the concepts in the Vedas. So that is the idea, brother. I hope that answers.
Yeah. But strangely, I listened to Baba very recently. He said, he changes, no? He said, Upanishad, and then Bhagavad Gita, then he says Brahma Sutra. So he says Brahma Sutra is a derivation of Bhagavad Gita, he said. So how can you
I don't know in which context, but Swami himself has written Vahinis for all these three. Okay. So the thing is, it's very difficult to study the Upanishad Vahini. It may be easier to study Bhagavat Vahini and Ramakatha Rasa Vahini and then go to these three, because Upanishad Vahini is tough. Sutra Vahini is also very tough. That's my personal understanding or experience. Gita Vahini is a little better, easy to understand. So, and we have studied, so it is a little easier than Upanishad Vahini and Sutra Vahini. I will let my Mani Aunty comment on that also.
Here the Prasthana Traya, that is three important scriptural texts which one has to read. Prasthanam, before we go away from this world, to reach that moksha, to reach that supreme state, a seeker, a spiritual seeker, it is necessary for him to study these three. That's why it's called Prasthana Trayam. I have read it somewhere.
Yeah, it's because the Prasthana is the journey.
Journey from
Mahaprasthana is the final journey.
fine, that's it.
Okay, so for us to
That
go
is
to that
why-
sthanas, that place, you have to go before that. That's the idea. So we are all supposed to be journeying anyway. A spiritual journey. This is the base, foundational.
Yeah.
Whatever, if you don't read, you should read these three. Is the belief.
That is why Sri Shankaracharya recommended these three texts which are to be studied by a spiritual seeker, if at all he wants to reach that stage, ultimate stage. Sairam.
Thank you, sir.
So I don't know whether everyone knows. Mahaprasthana means when the Pandavas walked till they died. That's called Mahaprasthana. The northward journey. Okay.
That's good, yeah.
Okay. Okay. If there are no questions or discussion, we can move if it's okay.
The Puranas have historical narratives of divine personages, great rulers and dynasties, and the fortunes of kingdoms and communities. Through them all can be seen shining examples of dharma and expositions of spiritual principles. All the texts, scriptures, and holy books referred to are grouped under the one comprehensive name, Hindu Shastras. It is no wonder that the people who revered and composed during thousands of years such a vast and valuable literature of religion and philosophy were, in course of time, divided and subdivided into sects and subsects, owing preferential loyalty to special creeds and beliefs. Some of these had broad gaps between them. We have no time now to elaborate on the fact that the differences between the sects are based on attitudes born out of the freedom of thought that was authoritatively allowed by the ancients, nor is it necessary. What we have to grasp are the truth accepted by all and the attitudes approved by all. That is to say, the principles which a person calling himself Hindu has to believe.
Thank you. Auntie,
Okay.
please go.
మహాపురుషుల యొక్కయు రాజన్యుల యొక్కయు సుప్రసిద్ధ పురుషుల యొక్కయు జీవిత రూపమునకు జాతి జీవితములో కలిగిన చారిత్రాత్మక సంఘటనల రూపమునను ఇట్టి ఇతర స్థూల రూపమునకు అందు ప్రదర్శింపబడెను.
It was demonstrated in them in the form of the lives of great men, kings, and very famous men, and in the form of historical events that occurred in the life of the nation, and in such other concrete forms.
హిందూమత సనాతన ధర్మముల ఉదాహరణ రూపముగా వర్తించుటకై మహారుషులు ఈ విధముగా పురాణములు నిర్మించిరి.
The great sages composed the Puranas in this way to serve as exemplary forms of the eternal principles of the Hindu religion.
ఇప్పుడు పేర్కొనబడిన గ్రంథములన్నిటినీ కూర్చి చేర్చి హిందూ శాస్త్రములని అందురు.
Compiling all the books mentioned now together, they are called Hindu scriptures.
ఎన్నో వేల సంవత్సరములుగా తాత్విక పారమార్థిక విషయ విచారమున తమ శక్తిలో అత్యధిక భాగమును వినియోగించి ఇంత అపారముగు శాస్త్రవాంగ్మయమును నిర్మించిన జనులందును జాతియుందును శాకాంతరములని ఎన్నో ఏర్పడి ఉండుట చిత్రము కాదు.
It is not a surprise that many different branches have formed among the people in society who, for many thousands of years, utilized the maximum part of their energy in the inquiry of philosophical and spiritual matters and built this boundless scriptural literature.
ఇవన్నీ కాక ఇంకను వేలు వేలు శాఖలు లేకపోలేదు.
Apart from all these, thousands and thousands more branches did indeed exist.
కొన్ని విషయములందు ఈ శాఖలను అపారము పరస్పర భేదములు కలువు.
In some matters, boundless mutual differences exist among these branches.
వానికి గల భేదములన్నీ వాని అందలి పారమార్థిక భావ విశేషములన్నీ గ్రహించుటకు మనకు ఇప్పుడు వ్యవధి చాలదు.
To understand all the differences they have and all the special spiritual concepts within them, time is not enough for us right now.
కావున ఈ అన్నిటిలో గల సర్వసమ్మత భావములను వాని అన్నిటికీ మూల సూత్రముల యుండు వానిని అనగా హిందువుకు ప్రతి మనుష్యుడును అంగీకరించి విశ్వసించి తీరవలసిన వాటిని తెలుసుకొనవలెను.
Therefore, one must know the universally accepted concepts present in all of these, those which remain as root principles to all of them, meaning those that every person who is a Hindu must absolutely accept and believe.
Sairam.
Thank you. Sairam, everyone. So Swami is clarifying, with the Puranas further, and also is also identifying or acknowledging the various differences among various schools of philosophy which have sprung over a period of time. But Swami wants us to focus on what is foundationally common for all the Hindus, as I think that's what Swami is sort of highlighting. I think Swami doesn't want us to spend analyzing the differences, because that will not, Swami says time is not enough. Maybe our life is also not enough for that. And so I'll stop here. Anyone who would like to? Sairam Sanjay.
Sairam, Marano, there was a Sarva Sammata Bhava was used. Do I not see that in the translation, or did I not hear that? Or am I understanding differently?
I think in the last sentence.
Oh, therefore, one must know the universally accepted concepts.
Sarva Sammata, universally accepted, Sanjay.
Does it not refer to the Sarva Sammata, meaning as an equal?
Sammata.
not.
Sarva sammata means accepted by everyone.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm saying sarva sammata. Everyone agrees on the same thing. Universally accepted by everyone, by all the Hindus. Those we have to pay attention, I think. కావున ఈ అన్నిటిలో గల సర్వసమ్మత భావములను వాని అన్నింటికిని మూల సూత్రములై ఉండు వానిని అనగా హిందువగు ప్రతి మనుష్యుడును అంగీకరించి విశ్వసించి తీరవలసిన వాటిని తెలిసికొలవలెను. Swami says we should get to know all the principles which are commonly accepted by all of them. And I think that's the most important, is what Swami is saying. Sammatam, Swami has used the word angikarinchi, Swami has used. So they have acknowledged and agreed on, I think. Or
No, you said the belief. No, here they used the word believe.
Visvasinchi.
Vishwasinchi.
Yeah.
You have to believe that also,
Yeah.
yes.
Accept and believe. Yeah.
Accept and believe, yes.
There is a line in the English translation in the slide here which says, we have no time to elaborate on the fact that differences are
Yeah. It's there.
yeah, based on the attitudes born out of the freedom of thought that was authoritatively allowed by the ancients. Is that part just extra?
In the Telugu, it is not there.
Okay.
I think it's slightly explanatory translations the way I would. Because I think, Swami is commenting on the differences which have arisen. Swami is not finding fault with that also. Swami is saying it is acceptable, based on their own beliefs, their own belief systems. There are some special differences. Swami is not saying that they are wrong. But what Swami is trying to make us focus on is what is commonly held by everyone and believed. So that way, that's the only way you can bring about some level of unity, which is also essential. It should not, the differences should not come out into conflicts. So Swami is saying just focus on what is common, and that's the most important. I think because the latter text Swami is introducing, he wants to set the boundaries, how we should go about studying them. Because what happens, I think sometimes we look at something which is different, and then we spend all the time, which is right, which is wrong, is this right, is this wrong? Should I wear vibhuti? Should I wear namam? Different, people fight. Even how you wear the vibhuti, all this. Swami will say, if you had to wear vibhuti, just wear vibhuti. That's enough. Don't fight over, how and when and so on. The common principle is, I just gave one example, but it's something similar. It's the same thing with other religions also. Swami is all, it's everyone has some common basic principles. We should just stick to them. We should not analyze the differences too much and get confused.
So all the Puranas are basically just like examples for us. They're composed as examples.
Illustrations of the principles, I would say.
Sorry, I'm saying is that, what is that? When Sat will say or speak the truth or do the right thing, but in these Digasa Pranas, and the people lived truth, no? So, for example, Harichandra is in the Mahabharata by story, no? So, Satya and Savitri, these are the by stories in the Mahabharata. So, how the people lived for that principle. Okay, plighted word or word was promised, should be kept. Harichandra lived like that. Even Rama wanted to keep the plighted word of his father to be true. So they are theory, a practical example. So that's what my brother said. Mahabharata itself is enough for people to liberate. Thank you, sir.
Swami will always quote Yanna Bharate, Tanna Bharata, but it's not in Bharata is nowhere in the world. That's what it says. That for all times. And is it Kannada or Telugu? Yanna Bharate, Tanna Bharata. Oh, it's Sanskrit itself, I think.
Yenna Bharate. Yeah.
Yes.
Yenna cannot be.
Yat na Bharate. That which is not exist in
Oh,
Bharata.
Yenna na Bharate.
Yeah.
Yenna.
Yat na Bharate, I think become Yanna Bharate.
Yeah.
Tat na Bharate. That will not exist in Bharat. That's it's so exhaustive. Bharat, Mahabharata is so exhaustive. That itself is called Panchama Veda, actually. It's called the fifth Veda also because of that. It's an ocean.
So the first Bharata is referring to Mahabharata, and then the second Bharata is referring to the country.
Yes.
So sometimes when we see things that you think, oh, this is like, it's kind of, wrongs and things are new or modern, but actually
it's all, you name it, it is there. Even today, modern concepts, any problem, challenge, it is in the Mahabharata.
Can I say one
Yes.
interesting which Bhagavan said during the Mahabharata, just prior to the Mahabharata war, when Vyasa was going in his chariot, a spider was running fast across him. You remember, brother? I'm sorry.
Yes. Tell the story.
Yeah, so then Vyasa gave enlightenment to the spider to speak. And stop. Why are you running? Hurry. Why are you running fast? No. In a moment time, so Arjuna's chariot will be passing here, and my children and wife are there, and I must be alive to look after them. That's why I am running fast. No? So what I am saying is, even the insect, provided it is given speak faculty, they can speak. They have the life. So whether it is what do you call inert or whether it is stone or mud or soil or water, and even the insects, everything has divinity in it. No, that is a good example that I can quote from Mahabharata story. No, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the discussion the last week was much more vibrant. Today, everyone Anything else anyone wants to discuss, or shall we move? I think pretty simply Swami is describing. Yes, Sanjay.
Since you opened the floor for a discussion, in the previous section, when Swami says here, what is important to remember, and rather than focus on the differences, to focus on that which is accepted by all, that almost seems to kind of sometimes could be misunderstood to mean the democratization of practices and values, which obviously is probably incorrect. So what is a good way to kind of caution against that? So because practices that have come about through history where because the majority of people believed in it, that became accepted. That may not necessarily be in alignment with Astika Dharma. In which case, what is one good way to delineate between what is accepted by all versus to juxtapose that against what is actually Astika Dharma and be aware of it.
Very good question, Sanjay. So, can we dilute the Hindu by chopping off essential practices of a Hindu just because a few people or even majority don't accept it? Then that means is it anyone can vote for it, and will it become excluded from essential practices? And that way we may dilute the process. I think isn't it a problem with the last sentence if it is thought that way? Am I right, Sanjay? I think that's what you are trying to.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So how do we know what is the common set of principles which all Hindus have to believe in? I think that's the question. Based on whatever we have read so far, I think the last chapter and this chapter so far. So how do we come up with that common core principles? It should not become the lowest common denominator. I think that's what Sanjay say. It should be the highest common denominator. It means not everyone can vote for it. I think that's what to say. Even if you take the organization, people say, "Oh, we don't like it now." Can we toss it out? Maybe something Swami has taught us. Swami has instructed. Just because
what do you say? The last sentence?
You know what I'm saying, brother, even in an organization, if suddenly a large set of people don't accept some instruction by Swami, they may say it doesn't suit this condition. We are in a different place. These arguments put by people. Prashantalayam is a Prashantalayam. We are living in Canada. Or we are living in North America. It doesn't suit. If that's a common belief, can we exclude some of those guidances, instruction by Swami? I think that's the question Sanjay is asking. Then it becomes democratization. Everyone votes and say, we want to not follow this. Isn't there that danger? So it should not be thought as democratizing. Democracy means today everyone has a vote, and with the vote we can choose and decide. And I think that's what Sanjay is referring to.
Oh, okay.
Practical application of this principle. How do we navigate this? So I'm just giving an organization as an example, but in this context, when Swami is saying Hindu, what should they all commonly should believe and practice?
Brother, what I was thinking is even the Dvaita, it is not the Dvaita, Vishnadvaita, Advaita. But basically, the theories behind is different. But the Guru worship, devotion, and karma, and everything is same. But the theory is basically different. No? So, what I was thinking during the time, that's why I'm saying that. So, what we have to look at it, we cannot say he's a Dvaitic and we don't want him. No. What is he practicing to reach that that prasthanam? Reach the main hall. If he is practicing that value, then here that philosophy, what he is saying, what is believing may be different, but what is practicing to reach that goal, always we have to see that whatever the philosophy is, are we believing that our life is different? What I'm saying is, we are basically divine. That's the thing I used to say, that when teaching Balvikas children, do we keep that idea, the divinities in each of them? So if we consider anything, if we believing that the divinity is in each of them, whether it's a thief or anybody, so that underlying principle is there, and but I am not putting correctly what I am feeling, but what I am saying is, basically the basic theory may be different, but the practices are common. So if the practices are common and they are moving towards the correct direction, and we can reconcile that, that's the thing. I feel it, and I'm not sure about that, I'm saying.
Okay, brother. Anyone else would like to comment? Yes, sister. Yes.
Brother. So I'm just thinking of what discussing all this time. Swami is talking about eternal Atmic Vedanta and all, and Puranic story, Puranic side. Now we are in the scriptures, and all of a sudden, Swami is bringing the Hindu sastras, kind of. He's categorizing all these things under Hindu sastras, whereas all this time we didn't talk about Hindu kind of thing, right? Is there any reasons that Swami, instead of putting under the Sanatana Dharma or eternal truth kind of thing, why Swami is now bringing, is there something Swami is bringing out from this grouping, like putting under the Hindu sastras kind of?
Very good question, sister. Why is Swami using the word Hindu and not Sanatana Dharma? I think that's sister's quick question.
Yes.
Why is Swami? We should have asked Swami, but we can. But
You have learned from
we should
Swami for that.
we should still. But anyway, it's a very nice question, sister. I will open it up for discussion.
Sai Ram.
Sai Raman.
The first sentence, all the text, scriptures and holy books are referred to or grouped under one comprehensive name, Hindu Shastras. So Swami, while referring to the name Hindu, I think instead of saying Sanatana Dharma, he calls those who believe in Hindu Shastras. We are now studying, that the Upanishads, we came across Puranas, and so Brahma Sutra, we call it Prasthanatraya also. So those who have got all these books are grouped together, and then they are called Hindu Shastras. And now those who believe really in these Shastras, they can, those who have got faith and the acceptance of those truths which they have propagated, they should call themselves as Hindus. I think the same paragraph has got the explanation. If I'm, to my knowledge, I feel Swami, what he is saying is this one. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Auntie. Yes, Swami.
Sai Ram. So I thought that these scriptures, texts, and those examples were pulled in the cultural evolution of Hindu culture. So that's why the word coming from Hindu, so just different like a geographical types of examples. Don't know that, right? But
Okay, thank you, sister. Anyone else? Then maybe I will attempt. Sanatana Dharma is Astika Dharma. But here there are latter texts, Smritis. So they also, there is some element of change, which Swami has already highlighted. So, but these are also part of the literature of spirituality in the land of Bharat. Swami is referring to Puranas, for example. So Swami is not calling them Astika Dharma texts. Though they are expounding, there are some elements of change in them. So Swami is using a slightly different word. Because Swami has used the language, just the way ancient language is not suitable in the Puranas. Swami is using a common today language. If you say Sanatana Dharma, people have all sorts of understanding of Sanatana Dharma, even political climate. So Swami is using the word Hindu. Means whoever subscribes to this Vedic religion, Vedas related religions, there are texts which are smritis also, itihasas. When you cover all of them, Hindu Shastras seems to be a better way to address them, to create a common category. Because some of the things which they teach may not be suitable for all times. And I think that could be one of the reasons Swami is just commonly using Hindu scriptures, because Hindus are generally who all believe in the Vedas. And Swami is referring to those texts, They expound Sanatana Dharma principles, but you may not be able to strictly say they are Sanatana Dharma texts, because Vedas and the Upanishads fall under that Sanatana, eternal texts, which will never change. But Smritis can undergo change based on whoever is authorized to make those changes or compose something. I think Swami has already listed, anyone who is even an incarnation of God, even divine personages and all that. It is not apausheya, So I think that's why Swami is using the word Hindu scriptures, is my understanding, sister. It's a bit more wider in its connotation than the Sanatana Dharma scriptures.
Okay, thank you.
Ram, so it has nothing to do with the civilization.
Swami says Bharati. Who is Bharati? I think we discussed that. Pardon?
Yes.
Yes.
First chapter, yes.
First chapter. Swami has covered it.
Mhm.
It's not the geographical location.
Okay. Yes,
It is not the deity you pray to.
correct.
Later on in Sathya Sai Vahini, Swami includes all worships.
Yes.
Christ Upasana, Buddha Upasana, everything. Allah Upasana, everything Swami covers. For Swami, everything falls under the same thing. So it's not geographical, it is not your religious practices, it is fundamental set of belief,
Mhm.
some common core principles. I hope that.
Yeah.
So, brother, we can say that these scriptures, all these are based on the Atmic Dharma,
Yes.
and whoever believes that Atma Dharma is Hindus, kind of. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Saira.
Is it correct to say that the Vedanta is Atma Dharma and the Smritis are Paradharma?
Smritis contain some paradharma which are prone to changes.
Oh.
I think that's the way to take it. Paradharma, there are some aspects which are, Swami will say anything other than Atma Dharma is Paradharma, even Varnashrama Dharma. But Smritis also contains certain practices which may be for time and space specific. Okay, so I think. But even Smritis cannot contradict what is contained in the Vedas. Okay, then. So I hope that.
And had you already addressed Uncle Sanjay's question?
I don't know. No, we have not. We have not. Everyone is dodging that. So I think so Sanjay asks, I will give my potential answer and others can chime in, or Sanjay can say whether it addresses. So the thing is, as already somebody asked, who can come up with the changes? Okay. The person who comes up with the changes should have studied the Vedas, should have studied the Vedanta, and who should be practicing it as an exemplary person. Okay. Such people, when they come, when they say this is a principle, I think that's what we have to agree. That is a common set of principles. If you study all of these people, I think Brother Sivadas was mentioning about even Dvaita philosophy, Vishishtadvaita philosophy, and so on. This is something which Shankaracharya did himself. When he was born, at that time there was 6 types of schools of belief or religions which were fighting among themselves so much. So what he did was he tried to cull from all these practices common elements, and he was able to tie them to the Vedas. And that is how we brought about unity. Even though they were continuing to practice their beliefs, they stopped quarreling among themselves, which is something similar to what Swami has also done. Across religions also Swami has tried to do. Identify core principles which will unite everyone and reduce conflict and friction. So somebody of stature of Swami, or some rishi who will be acknowledged, will be able to establish what is the core common set of principles which everyone should believe. I think, and we mortals should not be changing them. Yes, Auntie, please go ahead.
Yeah. Not only certain scholars or rishis or the avatars could change the situation in the already stated things could be changed by these personages, but at the same time Swami himself is saying sangika sthiti, society is changed, the demand of the society also was responsible for these changes to take place. In the first paragraph, when we discussed, it is mana matacharya maryadulu, mana sangika sthiti మీదను ఇతర సంఘములతో ఉన్న మనకు గల పరస్పర సంబంధములు మీదను మాత్రమే ఆధారపడి ఏర్పడిన ఒకటొకచే సాంఘిక స్థితి పాటు అవి కూడా మార్పును పొందియే తీరును. It has to go through because of our mutual contact with other
Interaction with others.
Yeah. So now at that time, whatever the society demanded, so the changes have to take place. They had to take place. Not only scholars and rishis and avataric Purusha also came and they changed the things which were already there, but we cannot go to the extent of diluting the whole Hindu dharma. But the basic principles have to be, it should be there.
Retained.
Yeah, it should be there. That is, I think so. Sairam.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. So just to go back, all the Vedic concepts will have to be people have to believe and accept, because they are never change. They are nitya dharmas. I think that's basic principles, I would say. I hope. Sanjay, I think Sanjay's question itself had the answer. It was more of a rhetorical question, so I will just leave it.
I'll thank you, but I'll ask a follow-up question. Who are the Shishtacharas in the Sathya Sai organization?
You're See, don't ask. It's better not to find anyone as Shishtachara. It means it is just fresh from the oven. What Swami has taught, and if people are clamoring to change, it's a problem. The time
No,
itself has not changed.
yeah, no, I understand. I know. I mean, it's a controversial thing, but I think it's also something that as members of the organization, we are in this because we love what Swami has given us, and we are benefiting so much out of it. And when you think of the example Swami gives of Guru Gobind Singh, in the previous chapters, so what is it that something to think about? What is it that we are doing or we should be doing to because I think when Swami is speaking here, he's clearly given all the ways in which one has to accept who are the people who are authorized to make these changes. He's defined that. But I think in our context of the organization is where this question is much more relevant to us, in the sense that we are members of the organization and we are in here because of our love for Swami and what the organization has done for us and given for us. So what is our role? That's how I was asking. But yeah.
Thank you, Sanjay. And 427, if anyone else wants to discuss any of these points rather than go to the next slide, we can explore.
Well, one question that I've been having is when you think about an SSE curriculum, for example, and you're trying to condense or even if you're doing a guru's training or something like that, and you're trying to explain what are Swami's core principles, isn't it almost like you fail every time because it's so vast? Can it even be done? I'm just wondering how to even, and then to put that into writing and say that this is a curriculum, this is what guru should know. It's kind of almost like you feel like you're doing something wrong because you can't limit, what Swami has taught to something like that. I don't know, if you have any thoughts on that.
Very good question. What should be the core principles in this SSC or Bal Vikas curriculum? I will put Sanjay on the spot because he was involved in the US curriculum development. Sanjay.
Sairam. No, I think there is no right or wrong way to um, um, I mean, there is definitely a wrong way to do it, but there is there one right way to do it? I don't know. I think it goes back to each one doing with their the best, as long as staying grounded to Swami's discourses that he gave for the Balvikas during the Balvikas conferences and the Sathya Sai Seva organization conferences. As long as one can stay rooted to that, that's about the best one can do. But again, what comes out can always be looked at through different and maybe agreeable, maybe disagreeable. But I think to use it as a broad framework is what I would say. But I think the curriculum mostly has to be based on Swami's discourses to the Balvikas conferences, and that should be the primary driving force. Yeah, I'll stop there.
So, okay, thanks, Sanjay. I will just add something. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sorry, after you, brother, I just have one small question.
You ask the question, we will address it all together.
No, okay. So I just wanted to ask the second last sentence to clarify that the Hindus has to accept all the truths. What is this attitudes approved by all? What is this referring by that word?
I don't know whether attitude is not the right word, sister. All the principles which everyone commonly agrees and
That's
acknowledges.
one. Okay, that's
Okay.
the Atma principle. We'll say that, and attitude is not there, right?
No.
Okay, then. Thank you, Saira.
So just to compliment or add to what Sanjay said. See, Swami's teachings, even if you take one discourse, it says the same message in other discourses, but it explains in different ways. Swami has repeated the same thing. For a Balavika student, Swami says, instill devotion in the child. Foundation, fundamentally. If there is devotion, everything will naturally grow. But so once that is the theme, Swami will say, Deva Priti, Papa Bhiti, Sanganiti. There are these principles are very common. Swami has told, love should be the foundation and things like that. And every Vahini, every discourse you take and study, the same principles are explained in multiple ways by Swami. So the thing is, even if you take one in a few collections of discourse, you will cover actually all of it. I think your question is, can we distill into certain core principles? I think that's what you are saying. See, the way the Swami himself is not telling here what are those core. He's saying, if you're saying something and if it's troubling others too much, then don't subscribe to that, especially when it is not in consonance with what is stated in the Vedas. So I would say, even if one discourse or one Vahini is studied by a child, they would have covered everything. So I think it is a matter of choice for the teachers. If you say take anything from Swami's literature, study it comprehensively and completely and teach the children, I think you're fine. So the thing is, but Swami will give choice for everyone to pick what appeals to them, which they are able to teach or they are able to understand and teach. I think, see, that's the way Sanatana Dharma, the Hindu Shastras work. You cannot read all the Vedas, you cannot read all the Upanishads. But you pick anything, Swami will say it's the same sweet which you will taste. So Swami has given us a whole set of literature. In his own words, simple words, he has taught. If a child studies Sathya Sai Vahini end to end through the 9 years, it's good enough. Because Swami touches every single thing. And then that forms a foundation for the child. Or you take Prema Vahini or something like that, or Sandhya Nivarani. Every text, actually, if you read and again revise, it's great. So I think that's a way to approach. It's very difficult for us to, Veda Vyasa could have done something, but we cannot come up with Brahma Sutras. I will just leave it at that. Okay, I think
I'll just,
yes,
if I
Sanjay.
could just add one other point just to complete. I think the curriculum also came about because today there is an explosion of the number of students and number of people who are interested in teaching. And at least to maintain some level of
Standards.
uniformity and have it grounded in Swami's discourses, because it had gone off, it had veered off track a lot, with people using stories and messages out of context, something that Swami has never mentioned, from other groups and so on. So I think this was at least an effort to bring it back to those, to give some foundation, and of course, it ultimately it's up to each guru how they want to become an acharya rather than just stay an adhyapaka. So,
Okay, thank you.
What I'm understanding is the curriculum should always point back towards Swami's direct teachings, and it should itself not become a shastra. Like we shouldn't be like, the curriculum itself, may not be the end goal, right? And it was written and, by people, by humans, I guess, right?
absolutely. That is the key takeaway message. It should just be used as a very loose guidepost. But ultimately, even when there's a quote from Swami there, the guru has to go and study the entire discourse to understand the quote in the context of the discourse, and then with that understanding, come and talk to the children rather than just quoting Swami out of context. Yes.
Arun, it's 4:35.
Yes, Auntie. I will close. We'll close and we will meet next Sunday again. Sairam, thanks everyone. I would like to thank Brother Corey. I think he joined from Syracuse Center. He's regional vice president also. He was silent, but anyway, thanks, brothers, for joining us. We'll close with Samastaloka prayer. Sairam. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sai.